Hi guys, it's Raven of thecuriousraven.net, founder of Pearls and Arsenic, Hong Kong's first luxury corsetry brand. And this is my beautiful Sparklewren corset that has come in, and we've just done a little bit of lacing tutorial talking about front busk corsets that are closed in the front. Now, the thing that I wanted to mention that I'm sorry we got cut off in the last video is that while lacing with these corsets takes a lot more time, it takes an average of at least 15 minutes to put the corset on, take the corset off, and the laces are extremely long. As you saw in the last video, they were like double my arm length, and I got pretty long arms. They need to be extra carefully laced in terms of you cannot lace a front bust corset too tight. If you are a beginner, I strongly recommend, if you're not already super into corsetry or have any experience, try and get an open busk corset first, because one of the things that beginners sometimes do is they'll sometimes, because they're unaware of their body's limits, or they haven't trained for at least 1 to 3 months every day wearing their corset previously, they'll try and wear a corset and they'll want to wear something pretty and go out. Either they haven't seasoned the corset already, which takes about 3 months, about 6 weeks to season a corset, which means this new corset I'd have to wear for an average of about 6 weeks, say maybe wearing it every day, in order to get the corset fabric, the steel bones, and my body used to all of the different curves of my body with the curves of the corset. So that's what seasoning does, and it's really important because not only do you have extra time wearing that corset, but you'll start wearing it very loose. You're not going to try and cinch down, and a lot of beginners try and cinch down because they're impatient. If you are an impatient person, don't corset, because it is not going to be very good for you. It's one of those things, like if you're an impatient person, don't try and go into like advanced yoga poses. It's just foolish. And a lot of people think that because corsets are fashion, that rule doesn't apply, but it absolutely does, because it's still about your body and your body's limits. If you're used to doing some crazy advanced yoga pose where you can pretzel yourself up, you'll be fine if you have trained yourself to do it. Likewise, if your body is used to stretching the waist muscles and the obliques, you'll be fine because your body has been trained to do it. But if you try and go from zero into a crazy advanced yoga pose, you'll probably hurt yourself. Something will probably not be so good, and you don't want to put yourself into that situation because it's irresponsible and because that's just not how you should live your life. Pretty much, just gonna go ahead and say that. You need to pace yourself, be responsible, make the right choices, especially if you're doing something like corseting, okay, fine, or advanced yoga. So this beautiful corset, I needed to let people know that given the amount of time it takes to get into, and more importantly, get out of the corset, this is gonna take me another 15 minutes to get out of, you need to be aware of the time it will take to get out of your corset. Because if you have laced it too tight, you feel uncomfortable and you start to panic, you're going to need to cut all your laces off, because it's going to take you 50 minutes to get out of your corset. Do you see what I'm saying? So I know that I didn't lace my corset too tight. I just put it on, wanted to try it, fit it on for the first time, and was very excited, and I super love it. But I need to keep in mind it's going to take me half an hour total to get into and get out of my corset. So if I feel any discomfort, as any of you guys know who have, and I'll probably do a video on this separately, but as any of you know who have made some of the simple mistakes of corseting where you lace your corset a little bit too tightly, or you are just wearing it for a little bit too long compared to what your body's used to, you'll start to feel some discomfort. You'll start to feel some things like Grumpiness is the first one, shortness of breath. You'll start to feel really like agitated as well, and you'll start to feel slightly annoyed in terms of like you want to get out of your corset, you want to get it off right now. So that's why I find that open bust corsets are better than closed bust corsets to begin with, because you can take it off much more easily if you accidentally lace your corset a little bit too tight and you don't realize. So sometimes that can be the difference of, you know, like a couple of millimeters, a centimeter here or there. For some people it will be an inch, but for me, as I have in other corset videos and on my blog thecuriousraven.net, I have days where my waist is a full inch different when I have been tight lacing. So it's really my body's mood. It might be hot, it might be cold, it might be a little bit sick, it might not have liked what you had for dinner last night. And the waist can change. So if you're used to hitting 23 inches every time you put on your corset, and you come in and your waist is like 24 and you try and force it down to 23, or you just lace it down to 23 without thinking, you might start to get grumpy and get symptoms of having your corset on too tight if your body doesn't want to be wearing it at 23 that day. And that's one of the things that I also wrote about and mentioned on my blog, thecuriousraven.net, with all this corset stuff, is that your body will go through different moods. And for me, having struggled with my weight, having had all these, you know, different sort of like psychological struggles with being in the media industry, being asked to lose weight, being bigger as just a person, like I'm a size 12, I'm about 5'8", as you could tell, I got like quite long arms, and being, you know, asked by the industry to be like this really tiny, like muscle-less weed of a thing. You created a lot of conflict in my mind, and conflict about like weight loss, weight gain, strength, and my own body. And my body started to really freak out about the pressure that was on it, and also start to freak out about some of the foods that it was being given or that it was eating as a comfort. So I found that cutting out sugar and dairy made a really big difference, and that's only been more recent a thing that I've been able to really conquer that, and I really go over it in thecuriousraven.net, where I talk about some of my food struggles, etc. So you can tell my waist is not down at 23 inches. At some point it will probably be between 23 to 26, and I'm so cool with that, because I feel like my body is allowed to have its moods, I'm allowed to have my moods, you're allowed to have your moods, everybody's allowed to have their moods. Dogs and cats have moods, whatever, you know, sometimes they'll just be like, I don't want to talk to you, mom, you're just being shitty today, whatever. So it's just one of those things that I feel is really important to keep in mind. You have to know your body before you're able to commit to wearing things that you can't get out of in a flash. So hopefully this has been a little bit helpful. I know it's been a little bit longer than I anticipated in terms of talking about getting in and out of your corset, making sure that you have safety in mind when you are going out, etc. But if you're going out to like a nightclub, if you're going out to have dinner with friends, if you're going out to do whatever, and you lace down a little bit too tightly, make sure that you only ever lace your corset to where it feels really comfortable. In the beginning, you'll find that that's like crazy loose. All the bits are sticking out and the front is sticking out, and it just looks really awkward. But that's why it's recommended that you wear your corset for half an hour to an hour in the beginning when you first start waist training, or when you first get a corset. Literally just, you're watching TV, you put your corset on, it's sticking out all these weird angles because it's really like not tight at all, but you need to have your body get used to it. And so your body might be like, no, I don't want to do this, I want to eat like cheesecake and have some chicken wings. And that's fine. You should be able to do it in your corset. If you can't eat, if you can't do the things that you want to do, you're wearing your corset too tight. So those things you'll really get to know just on your own from wearing your corset. And I think one of the most important things is to know your body by going through the process. You have to just take small steps. Within 3 months, as you guys can tell from my previous blog entry, on my 3 months of corseting, the whole journey that I did from like just doing corseting every single day and really getting through 3 months of corseting straight for waist training, that was a really interesting journey for me, and it really connected me with my body's mood so that I could tell, oh, my body doesn't want to wear a corset today, my body doesn't want to wear the corset at this size today, or I'll just wear it really loose under a baggy shirt or something like that. So it's important to know those moods, and when you know those moods, you can wear things like this that have a longer lace down time, because you'll be able to say, okay, I feel like this is a little tight, I'll unlace it a little in the back, or maybe I'm going to have a bit of a panic about getting out of the corset, or I'm grumpy, or I've had a crappy day, and I just might wear a corset that has an open busk in the front, so I can take it off whenever I like. So if I was feeling grumpy, moody, in any ways not having a really awesome day, I probably wouldn't choose a closed front busk corset, because I'd find that I just didn't want to be grumpy and then also have to spend the time taking off my corset. So anyways, this has been a very long video, I'm sorry, but hopefully it's been helpful for somebody somewhere. And that's just, you know, one of the things that I wanted to share in terms of this corset journey. Thanks for joining me here on Instagram at @RavenTowel, or on Pearls and Arsenic if you want, also on Instagram. Thanks so much for following, and I will be with you soon again for more very long-winded corset videos. Bye guys.